Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. So we've seen the Iran conflict escalate over the last couple of days. Iran started shooting at ships in the Hormuz Strait. As I predicted, we would go back and we would start to bomb them again eventually. And at some point, the Marines would land probably on Kharg Island, which I believe is coming fairly soon. And we would seize their oil. And President Trump has also stopped their ability to have oil revenue again. So I think this is something that is going to be very valuable going forward as far as like taking down this regime once and for all. I predicted, it would go down and we would have Pahlavi, the former Shah's son, take over. I still believe that's coming. It's going to take a little bit more time, but we're rapidly moving in that direction. I think it's everything's going at this. Everything's going at them. It's going to be massive. The strikes and everything that's going to happen over the next several days, weeks, and so forth. So let's look at a little bit of this and see what other people are reporting. It's one of the things that we've been, I've been waiting for. I believe that this was going to happen, and here we are. We're at the doorstep of a complete change in the Middle East, and that will start to happen throughout the rest of the world. Now, the deep state obviously does not want this. They've been fighting President Trump and America for a long time. I did a show today with Peter Tickton, who for 65 years has been a friend of President Trump. He's an attorney. He helped free Tina Peters, and he's working on First Amendment cases. And this guy, I wish he could be the Attorney General, but he is not political. His mouth is not political, right? He says what we all think, and he says it out loud. Now, he has some very, very deep insights and connections, evidently, that are telling him some stuff. And I highly, highly recommend you watch that show that I did with him earlier today. The man is absolutely amazing. He's keeping President Trump informed. He's one of his allies, I'm sure, as far as getting information to him. So they have a really good relationship. And he's talking on my show that, the next several months, all the way up to the election, 3-4 months, are going to be very, very, like we've been talking about, are going to be very eventful, right? He was talking about rioting and so forth. They're going to try and do the rioting to stop the election or change the election, kind of like what they did with the last 2020 election. 2020, it's not over yet. So we're going to see a lot of stuff coming these next several months. It's way off the charts. He talked about the vaccination and how that is going to be very, very deadly going forward because of the way it's changing the DNA and so forth. He went into detail about that, and there is a timeline on that. So they want it to happen by 2030. We know that they want to reduce the population dramatically. These people are psychopaths. They're very evil, and they're going to continue to try and do evil. All right, one of their puppets, Iran, was going to do a lot of evil, and President Trump has talked about that. It's completely and totally on now. Now, maybe there was a pause so that the oil prices could come down, so it wouldn't shock the world so much. The world could get a little bit of footing, and now we're back at it again. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this turns out.
Just backfired big time. The American response was not proportionate. It was absolute punishment. CENTCOM announced strikes in over 80 targets in Iran, 4 to 5 times larger in scope and power than any previous retaliatory strike during the ceasefire period. U.S. forces hit Iranian air defense systems, command and control networks, coastal radar sites, anti-ship missile capabilities, and more than 60 IRGC small boats in and near the Strait of Hormuz. Those are the fast boats, the swarm fleet, the ones that were already degraded back in March. Trump just finished the job. It was an absolutely massive attack. Keshem Island, Bandar Abbas, Sirik, all hit, all struck, all incapacitated. And then Trump did something the media is almost completely ignoring. He revoked the oil sanctions waiver. The temporary license that allowed Iran to sell oil on the global market, granted as part of the MOU, was canceled. The economic lifeline Iran thought it had won in the peace deal literally disappeared in a single afternoon. And then President Trump at the NATO summit in Ankara said the words the regime feared the most.
Now, one of the things that could possibly happen, as we saw a little bit of this during the last little back and forth, was that we would seize their oil. We would seize their tankers, and we would sell it, and we would get the income to pay for this war against them. And I think that's coming for the Kharg Island, which 90% of their oil flows through there. So that's going to be seized, I believe, by the Marines. It's going to be kind of interesting to see how that goes, because they're probably going to try and bomb that. But how much? Because if they bomb it, there goes their the potential source of income, and they're desperate for that right now.
Ceasefire over. Is the ceasefire done? Is the MOU dead?
It's a very interesting question. To me, I think it's over. I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're scum. You know what scum is? They're scum. They're sick people. They're led by sick people. And they're vicious, violent people. And
guys, I spent decades in the Middle East, and all of the violence that was happening over there, the attacks on civilians. There's millions and millions of civilians that have died because of the Iranian regime. Millions throughout the Middle East horrifically died, right? Bombers coming into markets and blowing themselves up and just killing everybody. Children, women, men, it didn't matter, right? There's no amount of karma that can come at these people. They really need to be taken down. They need to be taken down hard, and it's coming.
if they had a nuclear weapon, they'd use it. As far as I'm concerned, it's over. I'll speak to our negotiators. They want to negotiate. They're good people. Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner. But they have to come back to me. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a waste of time dealing with them. They're liars. We make a deal. And if I make a deal with him, we have a deal. And he goes out, he talks. We make a deal. Everyone's agreed. No nuclear weapon. We make a deal. They go outside, talk to the press. They say, we never even talked about it. There's something wrong with them. They're cuckoo. As far as I'm concerned, it's over.
Well, the cuckoos are finding out that the combination of military and monetary might are enough to completely collapse a country. And that's exactly what's happening as we speak. What I want to show you is how analysts are beginning to finally realize, to their amazement, that this peace deal, this MOU, was always a trap. A trap not for the United States, a trap for Iran. And Iran just unwittingly walked straight into it, and what they sprung changes everything. I know you keep...
All right, so they're done. It's only a matter of time. We've already won against them, all right? And it'll be interesting to see, how long it takes before they're completely done. Will it go all the way to the midterms? Will the midterms have to be pushed? All this remains to be seen. So that was one of the things that Peter Tickton and I talked about. The elections, either by executive order or because we're at war and we have to push this. Remains to be seen, how this goes down. But I don't see it. And I've done military roundtables. All of us basically seeing the same thing, that we don't see the midterm happening. So it'll be interesting to see, what transpires to push that. How that is received by the Democrats, the communists that are trying to take over our country, we can't allow it. We can't allow them to steal elections like they've been doing for a long time. So it's not if we can't have secure elections, they're not going to happen. They're not going to happen. And if they do happen, well, then America is going to be torn apart. All right. So that's why I think President Trump's not going to let it happen.
You've got a group who.
All right. So let's look at a little bit more. Steve Gardner. It's got a colonel with them. And they're going to talk about, basically what's coming.
Just do not want to give up. They're going to continue to do things to unravel any agreement. And I would argue, even if we come to some sort of a terms to reinstate, like you said, maybe they thought they could just jump right back into the agreement. No, you can't attack our allies and expect us to do nothing. And this is where I think the Abraham Accord and the use of our allies has to become the front and center issue. Our Arab allies have to be lining up and be preparing to go back into combat with them.
So the Arab allies are actually starting to go into combat now, and they're joining in the fight. Of course, Iran attacked several of the I think Omani tanker, a Saudi Arabian tanker, several others. They've attacked bases. They've attacked several of these countries. They're raining missiles down everywhere now. So obviously, there's going to be a counter response from the Iranians. We'll see how much longer they can keep this up.
That's against Iran.
Okay. President Trump talked very openly about taking Kharg Island, but said that most likely the best route after this coordinated hit to show them that we're not messing around, to reimpose the naval blockade, because this hurt Iran financially without inflicting a bunch of death, having to hit their bridges and their electric grids. Do you think that maybe that is the better way to go? Or
so now we are hitting almost all of their bridges. We have hit an electrical power plant. I believe it was in their nuclear, they call it their nuclear city. I believe that's the term that they use. That power plant was destroyed. President Trump is saying that he does not want to take out their desalinization plants. He doesn't want to, but it may move in that direction. So taking down everything in Iran, nothing to be left standing, because that's maybe the only way that we can take this regime completely out. And then, it'll be rebuilt. I don't think the Europeans are going to get involved in that, because they're not involved in this war. So it might work out pretty good for the United States to, have all of this. We destroy everything, then rebuild it better, much better. And they're going to be the beneficiaries of the Iranian people that are being controlled by a very psychopath, led government, radical Islamist group. They're the Persians, the Iranian people, Persians are not radical. They're peace-loving, very artistic people that unfortunately, like I've seen in the Middle East, it only takes a very small percentage of these radicals to come in and take over these countries, because the people really are peaceful, and it doesn't work well, with peaceful people, with radical psychopaths taking over. I mean, they just roll right in and take over. It's pretty tragic, having seen this for decades and decades in the Middle East. You shake your head and wonder, how much abuse can they take before they strike back? I guess a lot more, because they've had President Trump has talked about 53,000 people have been killed by the Iranian regime for protesting. So that's a lot. All right, here's all the strikes that are happening, as you guys can see, all over the place. These aircraft are coming in and dropping bombs and missile strikes and so forth.
So the island that I mentioned earlier, not too far from Dubai, the Abu Musa Island, has just been hit 10 more times by the US Air Force in the area. The United States, they are launching the, obviously, the jets from the Gulf of Oman towards the Persian Gulf, and they're flying around with absolutely no resistance from the regime. So that's happening. I think we're going to quickly go to, another drone. Drone carrier and drone site, a facility, has been hit in the province of Bushehr, that's in the southwest, where everything is kicking off, the nuclear city. And we don't know if this is actually in the city of Bushehr, because the name of the city and the province is the same. We will get the information on the exact location, but we have the video now. That's the suicide drone production site that is now up in flames. So that's burning. That's a huge number of drones that have now been eliminated. That's great. Somebody says, Mark says, are these new attacks? No, they are traveling. They're doing time travel. Yeah, if they're launching attacks now, obviously you can see the date, the 9th of July, 2026, then they can only fight in present time. They can't fight in the past. We haven't been able to travel in time yet. So let's, I think that is, we have an update from the US military. One of the sources with a new image is saying that as the ongoing US strikes against the Islamic Republic continue, we can now confirm that they have already exceeded the scale of strikes that happened last night and this morning. The US military have now also said that they will continue to get larger and larger than previous waves that we have already had. The image that you're seeing is one of the IRGC army barracks that is based in the southwestern parts of Iran. So that is that's why we're getting a lot more videos and images tonight than even last night and weeks ago, because there's so many attacks happening at the same time that there's always somebody from the local areas that will be filming or taking the picture and then sending it to the outside world.
All right. So excellent job by 2CTV, given great insights. Their team has been doing fantastic work over the last several months of keeping us informed of what's going on in Iran. They have people within Iran that are helping us stay up to date on what's happening. So excellent job. And for all of you that are watching over on X, we've finally figured out how to go live in X. So welcome everybody in X. Hopefully, we'll start doing all of our lives on X simultaneously from here on out as we do on YouTube. So for those of you that like to watch on X, there you go. You have another option. All right. So secret Iran planes are scrambling to bunker. So the baddie leadership is scrambling to get the heck out of town, because they know that the previous two administrations were wiped out. So, the third one, they're scrambling to jump on planes and get into deep bunkers. Will they be able to make it? Or will those bunkers not be able to keep them safe either? So it's going to be interesting to see, how much devastation is going to happen to Iran. Interesting, not pleasant, obviously, because every time, as I've witnessed and having been in 3 decades worth of war, there's always innocent people that get taken out. All right, so that's unfortunate, but I can tell you that our munitions, the incredible power of the U.S. military now, are very, very strategic and very precise. So, occasionally some of them go offline and cause innocents to die. Unlike the Iranian regime, which are absolutely trying to kill as many people as possible all over the place. All right. whether it's Lebanon, whether it's in Palestine, whether it's throughout the Middle East through their proxies in Yemen and so forth. I've seen a lot of it. Lebanon, Beirut, and down into multiple countries. I've seen these guys come in. We knew they were Iranian. They were backing a lot of the problems. It's very hard to take them out. You got to take it out of the source, and that's what we're finally doing. This is something that should have been done long, long ago. So this is David Hooksteed talking about how they're trying to scramble and get out.
Many of the flights were trying to conceal where they were going. Many of them were headed east towards a specific location that was the location of Mahabad, which is a bunker area. Now, today, we are learning from Shin, several birds, which is planes, with their transponders off, are departing from Mehrabad Airport, all heading east, presumably a relocation in fear of airstrikes on the Mehrabad Airport. So they are flying planes, transponders flipped off. They do not want to be tracked. We do not know who is on these planes, but we know it is likely Iranian leaders. Remember, President Trump saying earlier today that we are going to continue to hit them. The bombings have only just begun. Now, it's unclear if Trump will walk that back. We have more comments from him about taking Kharg Island we're going to get into, so make sure to stick around for that. But mysterious, unknown Iranian aircraft are in the skies eastbound. So I'm going to tell you where I think they are going. So if we zoom in here, you've got Tehran here, right? And then if you go over here, you got Mashhad. This area is an area with heavy bunker locations for the Iranian leadership. It is all the way in the far east of Iran. It is far from the Strait of Hormuz as you can get. They have bunkers there. This is where I believe at least one of the planes last night on the live stream was going. Now, I would guess, take an educated guess, and I think the existence of the bunkers there is public information. At this point, I'm putting it out there, so if it's not public, it's out there now. But they have bunkers in the Mashhad region, and I think that's where these planes are headed, evacuating key leaders of the Iranian regime. Key Iranian officials are trying to get out of the way, get to the bunkers before the U.S. heavy strikes come in. Now, speaking of heavy strikes, we have fighters, jets, and bombers appear to be moving across the Mediterranean into position. This is a look at the refueling tankers over the Mediterranean, flying loops, refueling the bombers and the fighter jets that are moving south into the Middle East for whatever attacks could be coming. When the refuelers are moving, you know the bombers and the fighter jets are moving with them. So we are hauling a lot of planes into...
All right, this is obviously something that's been planned for a long time. All right, this was coming. Everybody knew it was coming. I've been talking about this. I was like, okay, I guess they're going to delay and there's probably good reasons for the delay. We might not ever know that, but you get people in positions. I've been talking about. I believe that there's special forces that are on the ground in Iran. CIA, Mossad, you name it, they're all over the place. And they're getting fighters ready, definitely up in Kurdistan area in Iraq. Iraq has become a hotbed again, just like it was when I was there back in 2003 for these Iranian proxies that are have come into Iraq and are causing problems. We've been bombing Iraq too. It's crazy. That's the way it was when I was there. We were getting bombed by the Iranian, roadside bombs and so forth. It's frustrating. And they had their proxies that were there, their mullahs and so forth, that were giving us a heck of a time. Fallujah was brought to ruins because they had infiltrated so heavily into Fallujah. One of my buddies, Scotty Helveston, was drugged, shot, burned, drugged through the streets, and hung from a bridge. There was hell to pay for that. That was a fighting point that a lot of people in Fallujah, they remember those guys hanging from the bridge. So, and after Fallujah was won, They went back to that bridge, and the Marines basically talked to a buddy of mine, SEAL Team 6 buddy of mine that was working in Blackwater at the time, because those are Blackwater guys. I was working with Blackwater at the time as well, but they gave they did a ceremony for those guys that had died because they'd fought all that time, pretty much destroying Fallujah, because they had infiltrated so much underground facilities. They went into the mosque. They took over the mosques. They finally got the green light to, if they're running into the mosque, they're fighting from the mosque, which I'd been seeing myself for a long time. They started blowing those mosques up. So this is something that we're going to have to deal with in the United States and Europe too. All right. So this is a worldwide event. It's starting here. It's going to spread. I've said this is going to be very, very similar to World War III, put on a different level. It won't be as kinetic as World War III. It will be precision guided, strikes, special forces, taking action. I believe the special forces have already been taking action within the United States and in other countries. So this activity is going to continue. It's silent. It's just like special forces are. They're silent. They move and take care of business. And you never know they were there if they're doing a good job. And they have been quite a bit. Now, it's going to escalate, I believe, over the next several months within the United States and in Europe. So we're going to see not just in here, but around the world. So that's why I've been saying this will be a worldwide event. All right. So lots of people are reporting on this now. You're going to see heavy bombing for probably several days, day and night. So they did one last night. They're doing it again tonight. And I would predict that probably they will start to bomb during the day, right? Because there's so many targets that they need to take. They can't do them all. They'll be stacked, bumping into each other, taking all these targets. So it's going to be amazing, the amount of like I think last night was 80. I've heard well over 90 tonight so far, and I think it's going to continue. So again, this is the kickstart of something much bigger, right? And this is a worldwide thing. And why is this a worldwide thing? Because the deep state is worldwide. Their deep state is worldwide. The Nazis, like I've been saying, did not lose World War II. They just went all around the world. They led us to believe that they had been defeated, but they just went to all, Argentina, down to Antarctica. They built up these, very, very high-tech vehicles with a little help from their negative space brothers. And of course, we've got positive help from Space Brothers as well. So this is part of a bigger, much bigger thing, not just here on our planet, but throughout our solar system and throughout our galaxy. All right, so all the stuff that we've seen in Star Trek and Star Wars, Star Trek definitely was basically telling us history, right? It was a historical show, showing us what's going on out there and what we've been involved in. So there's there's a lot of bacon eating going on out there. Yes, absolutely. So, and a buddy of mine who was from Libya, we call him the amphibian Libyan. He was Navy SEAL frogman, so we call him the amphibian Libyan, and a really great guy. Jad, I can't tell you his last name, but Jad would he was Muslim. He grew up for a short period of time in Libya, and then Gaddafi, came into power and ran his family out because they were not for him, right? So he seized power and they left and came to the United States. And Jad was a Navy SEAL. So Jad, having been a Muslim, was denied bacon, right? So when we went out to breakfast, he would get extra bacon every time we went out. And we, of course, we're Navy SEALs. We're very hungry all the time because we work out all the time. So he would get extra bacon, and he's like, I love bacon. And we're like, Dad, why do you eat so much bacon? He's like, because I was denied bacon my whole life. And we're like, I get it. So Great story. So we're going to eat a lot of bacon and, rejoice and, taking down something that's very evil throughout the world. Not all Muslims, of course. Like I said, 95% of Muslims are very good people, but they are misled. And some of them get very radical, like we've seen with the IRGC in Iraq. And they have been used to control the people of the Persian people, right? And I think they'll probably go back to the Persian people after this. We'll see. I hope so. They need it. They deserve it. So we're helping them out. Of course, they have been fighting. 53,000. That's not a drop in a bucket. People that have been killed, trying to, overthrow this regime, guys. And they're going against machine guns. They don't have any weapons, right? So I've been saying, guys, come on, see some of those weapons, turn against those idiots. Right. So I don't know what's going on there, but I do believe that the special forces are there, right? And they're ready to, and they have been, because there's been a lot of mysterious explosions for months and months and months in Iran. So that's some of the stuff we're starting to see, this takedown of this evil regime. And of course, this evil regime in Iran is just part of a bigger picture that's all around the world, right? And so we're gonna see all of it taken down. All right, let's look at a couple more things. So former Milwaukee judge Hannah Dugan, who was convicted of felony obstruction for helping an illegal evade ICE, you guys might remember that, has been sentenced to no prison time and just a $5,000 fine. So a elite justice gave another elite justice, imagine that, leniency, very, very lenient terms. She can no longer be a judge. She'll probably end up being something else, which is just as bad, if not worse. Of course, good judges are rare to find. So I'm not saying all judges are bad. I've been around some really, really good judges, actually. So luckily, and good lawyers. But for the most part, we see that system pretty much compromised. And this is another example of, America, the cleanup that has to come. And, President Trump has been there, we're over a year and a half, and it seems like we're just getting started. There's so much to do.
Landmark case in the fight over the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. And this sentence came down: no prison time and just a $5,000 fine for former Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan, which is far less than the 5 years behind bars that she was looking at. U.S. District Judge Lynn Edelman explained that prison time was not necessary given Dugan's decades of public service, saying there is no indication the defendant acted for personal or private gain. This isn't like the cases of public corruption. This is a situation where an otherwise good person, upset by immigration enforcement in this country, a sentiment widely shared, made a bad decision in the moment.
Yeah, that's not a sentiment widely shared. So these corrupt judges with their wording is complete BS. They need to be replaced. In fact, they're quite treasonous. And I did a show with another constitutional expert, and he's saying that there's so much treason throughout America that needs to be cleaned up. Now, I asked Peter Tickton about this, and I said, well, would we do military tribunals throughout America? We could have the JAG officers to basically take that on. We've seen that there's been a lot of JAG officers that have been activated in the military. So something is up. So he said that the only time this has happened, well, the last time this happened, I don't know about the only, but the last time this happened was after Abraham Lincoln's assassination. So they did military tribunals like crazy. Now, do we need something like that to happen before we get military tribunals? Sounds like we have to have something radical happen. So, I mean, we've already had radical 2020 election stolen. These communists starting to come into power. stealing elections throughout all of America over and over again. LA being a great example. California as a whole, you name it. You name it, the deep states. Colorado is obviously extremely corrupt, and as Peter Tickton said, completely compromised by the deep state, pretty much. So, and it's great to hear from someone like him that's close to President Trump, because I've been saying the same thing. So we're all thinking the same. But like I said, President Trump is not going to telegraph what's going to happen. He's going to react very quickly, very fast, so people don't escape, because these guys can change a lot of stuff. They know how you're coming at them. They'll change documents. They'll get, law enforcement and, Justice and Justice Department, all kind of crazy people that are still out there causing problems to get involved and stop stuff out. Same thing in the military. We still have we have a military that's compromised on a great level. Although that's being cleaned up, there's still a lot of baddies out there, guys.
Ahead of that sentencing, we also heard from Hannah Dugan for the first time since her trial started back in December, and the former Milwaukee judge expressed no remorse for guiding federal agents away from her courtroom and sending the illegal immigrant they were waiting for.
No remorse. Look at that smug look. I'm coming back, and I'm going to cause more mayhem. You wait and see.
Or out a back door. In fact, she told the judge her acts that day were consistent with community concerns at the courthouse. And she said, "I will not let those minutes define my life's work. It is my intent to return to public service." Now, that return to public service could be any number of things, including a possible return to the bench if her defense team is able to get this verdict overturned on appeal, which is what they've said they are now going to try to do. John?
But if they don't, she can't go back to being a judge. We'll see how it goes. Garrett.
All right. So, more treason. And then those people that are helping her, treasonous. Geez, there's so much treason. Like here treason, there treason, everywhere treason. So, yeah, that's right, Gary. Treason. So we'll have a lot of people that will be standing treason trials, right? So a lot, thousands and thousands of them. It's incredible how many people are, have been trying to take down our systems, our Constitution. They put judges in positions, and those judges have, ruled in ways that they don't have that power, right? It's we the people, and they've taken everything away from all our rights, everything. So those have to be rectified, and it's going to get a lot better going forward at some point, but not in the near term, right? So we got to get through the next 4 days or so, and things are going to get very, very hectic. All right, so that's pretty much what I got today. If you guys think that we're going to not have problems, everything's going to be like smooth, I want to know what you're taking. So I think all of us are pretty much, this is going to get it's going to be a hot mess going forward, and there's not a lot of people going to be able to handle it, unfortunately. I say a lot, but we'll see. So a lot of people are coming on board, and they're starting to be educated, right? They're figuring it out. And I think it's going to be very good going forward. So, yeah, I'm excited too. So you guys in the chat, good chat going on. Like I said, first time I've gone live over on X. So you Xers, glad you joined us. Quite a lot of Xers actually for the first show. So thanks a lot to you guys, and we'll be seeing you guys on more of these shows going forward. All right, guys. Lots of love. Stay in the love vibration. You know how that makes a huge difference. And send all those baddies love, because, boy, that just destroys them. All right. We'll see you guys next time.